burgers, anyone? The sick case of Joe Metheny, who allegedly sells burgers with the meat of a human. We've all grown to love hamburgers, right? But today, we will be talking about a different burger made with different ingredients. If you get what I mean, then yes, it is a human meat burger. You may want to sit down and listen to this disgusting case of Joe Metheny, a serial killer who sells meat burgers on the road made with the flesh of his victims. Well, after hearing this story, you may never want to eat fast food again, especially at the roadside joints. Welcome to AF Crime, the channel that brings you fascinating crimes all around the world. If you're interested in this kind of content, then this channel is for you. Make sure to like this video, click on the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to keep you updated on our recent uploads. Now, let's get right into the video and unfold the sixth story of Joe Mr. Meat Metheny. Most serial killers started their passion for crime because of their childhood experiences. Joseph Roy Metheny, or also known as Joe Metheny, was born on March 2, 1955 in Baltimore, Maryland area. Joe said that his childhood was pretty tough as he was being neglected by both of his parents, which made him very depressed. He claimed that his father was an alcoholic and he was physically and verbally abused by him. He also said that his mother neglected and left all of her 6 children, including him. He said that his parents would often send them to live with other families in which they would be settled for a foster-like arrangement. These allegations would turn out to be false when his mother testified against him. When Joe was at the age of 6, his father died in a car accident, and that's the reason why his mother had to work multiple jobs, like being a waitress, barmaid, and food truck driver to support all of her 6 children alone. She admitted that they were somewhat poor, but she had provided her children with a normal family life. She claimed that her children had never gone hungry or been put into someone's home as what Joe had claimed. His mother even said that Joe was an above-average student as he was always polite and certainly not mean when he was a child. When Joe turned 18, he joined the United States Army, which he claimed that he was stationed in Vietnam. It was confirmed that he did serve in the military. However, there was no records of him having been stationed in Vietnam. His mother also said that she had no recollection of him serving in Vietnam. And anyway, it is by this time that he got addicted to drugs. It was by this time that he was slowly drifting away from his family. When he returned from serving the army, he didn't contact any of his family, and he never did come home. So basically, he was living in the streets with a community who were also homeless, and they would gradually do drugs. In the early 90s, he was widely known in the homeless community in South Baltimore as Tiny, as he was 185 centimeters and overweight. Regardless of his nickname, he was described as intelligent, well-spoken, and a well-mannered person. He also held a steady job as a forklift driver and spends nearly all of his money on crack cocaine, heroin, and liquor. However, in the middle of all of this, he met a lady who was also a drug addict. They fell in love, got married, and they ended up having a child. At this point, Joe was working and was able to afford a house, which was a small trailer, but sadly, both of them weren't able to stop their drug addiction. One dark night in 1994, Joe came home from work only to find out that all of the house's furniture was gone. On top of that, his wife was also gone, along with his 6-year-old son. He believed that his runaway wife left with another man and took to living in the streets with him. At one point, Joe goes on and buys drugs when the drug dealer told him that his runaway wife lived under a bridge with another guy. He said that she was working as a sex worker and that his son had been taken from her for child neglect and child abuse. Now, this became extremely unsettling to Joe because who wouldn't be? But anyway, let's get back to the story. He spent days looking for his ex-wife, checking halfway houses, and even on the certain bridge where he knew his wife used to buy and do drugs. One night, while he was on the bridge, he met two homeless men whom he believed knew her. He asked them about his wife, and the two men answered no. Instead of leaving both of them, Joe got triggered and killed these two homeless men with an axe. Joe claimed that it was the first time he killed somebody, but it was later confirmed that he was also responsible for killing Kathy Ann Magziner earlier that year by strangling her. Going back to the two men, Joe ends up chopping the body of both of the two men, but the killing did not stop there. Joe sees a sex worker in the nearby area. He also asked her if she had seen his ex-wife and son, but when she answered no, he also decided to beat and murder her. Immediately afterward, Joe allegedly noticed a fisherman nearby. He thought he could have seen what he had done and decided to kill him too. Joe Metheny was tried for murder of the two homeless men named Randall Brewer and Randy Piker, but on July 1996, he was released due to insufficient evidence. He was only in jail for 1.5 years. When Joe gets out of jail, he didn't just learn his lesson, but he also developed a passion for murders. This is where the meat burger incident would start. He developed a pattern of befriending sex workers that were addicted to cocaine and heroin. Joe would lure them into his trailer by saying he would give them drugs for free. Inside the trailer, he would kill and dismember them. He would slice the body parts of his victims and put it in a Tupperware inside the freezer. At this time, he was still working as a truck driver, but he seems to need some extra cash, so he decided to open a small burger stall. He opened his small business on a main road where a lot of truck drivers would rest by. He even claimed that his stall is getting a lot of attentions because of his secret ingredient. He claimed that he would mix the flesh of his victims, which he hid in the Tupperware, with the pork patty. He even claimed that there wasn't much difference between the taste of pork and human flesh. Sadly, his customers also didn't notice the difference. After some time of him selling burgers, he realized that he was running out of his so-called special meat. That's where he decided he needed more. On December 8, 1996, he lured Rita Kemper into his trailer where he allegedly attempted to rape and beat her. Fortunately, Rita was able to get away by escaping through the window of the trailer and fled to police officers in a nearby area. On December 15, 1996, Joe Metheny was finally arrested and charged with murder. He instantly began confessing all of his murders. He led the police to the shallow grave where he had buried Kathy Ann Magaziner's body. He also claimed that he had thrown bodies in the Patapsco River, but they were never found. Now, his confessions weren't really proven because of lack of evidence. It was also not clear how truthful his claims of how many he had killed. Although he said that he had killed up to 10 people, his attorney would later say that he was remorseful and drugs would change his personality. Despite of his confessions, he was never convicted for tampering with food because, again, there was no proof. Although he had openly claimed that he sells the burgers with a meat of human flesh, there was no evidence that he really did it, basically because people ate it. He then said to the officers that the only thing that he feels bad about in any of his murders is the fact that he didn't get to murder who he was really after, and that was his ex-wife and the man she ran away with. He then went to say and left a quote, "So the next time you're riding down the road and you happen to see an open pit beef stand that you've never seen before, make sure you think about the story before you take a bite of that sandwich." Yes, if you ever needed a reason to become vegetarian, this is it. He was tried in 1997 and was given a sentence of 50 years for kidnapping and attempted sexual assault. During his police confession, Joe said he enjoyed killing and wouldn't ever apologize to the victims' families because he said that the apology would be a lie. But on August 5, 2017, Joe Metheny was found unresponsive in his prison cell and was declared dead at the age of 62. The story of Joe Metheny is as sad as it is disturbing. Joe Metheny left many victims in the wake of his reign of terror, those he murdered, the families of whom he has killed, and those whom he fed human meat unknowingly will forever remember this case with an aching heart. While he was still alive, some people wanted him to have the death penalty, but for me, I personally wanted him to just rot in prison because death penalty would be an easy escape for someone like him. Let me know your thoughts about this by commenting below. AF Crime, we strive to bring you more such cases, so if you are interested, do subscribe to our channel where we bring you multiple videos per week. And don't forget to click on the bell icon to receive notifications whenever we publish a new video. Till the next case, and thanks for watching.